Hi, my name is Mark Newberry, and here is our first episode of Acceptance is Love, where we interview many people on the autism spectrum so we get a clear view of all the details and all the education so that we can make the best assessment of them as possible. And it turns out they're doing a pretty good job. We have with us today Martin McCovey. Martin, say hi to the camera for us.
Hello. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, having me here. Thank you.
Yeah, before we get started, remember the purpose of autism acceptance is that we want to get rid of the stimulations brought on by a lot of the older generation and the way that they talk about people on the spectrum. It's just because they didn't know. That's the thing. Lack of education, you got to be sensitive to that because it just wasn't there. And it's very unfortunate that that happened to you and a lot of people that are on the autism spectrum. But my podcast is going to shed a light, and that light is going to be about bringing a renewed awareness and filling in all those knowledge gaps that we had before. I want to fill them in now. I think it's fair that we get a fair assessment of what autism actually is. Wouldn't you agree, Martin?
Yes.
Yeah. And I've done some research and it says that a lot of people who are great, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin himself actually, to name a few, don't forget Bill Gates and Elon Musk, they all are considered to be on the autism spectrum. And back then we had the term for it, Asperger's syndrome. And now it's a level 1 autism. And the proof's right there. I mean, the body language sometimes is different. Notice I didn't say the word weird. We use it's different. It's different than a typical person. So, but their accomplishments, the fact that Albert Einstein can write endless amount of math equations and come up with the chaos theory like that, and E equals mc squared is just beautiful,
Mhm.
wonderful. So, with that said, they do great things in this world, and we got to honor that, and we got to acknowledge that they're human beings with feelings just like everybody else.
Mhm.
And so I hear that you are a very accomplished UPS driver. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I have a few questions I would like to ask you, so you can let us know the inside scoop about, the progress that has been made so far with autism acceptance and the autism awareness. My podcast is only going to amplify that and make this progress to the very end. One day I do see that I really want to petition for this to pass the Autism Education Act, which means K through 12 all across the United States, the students will be easily eligible and be able to understand and be educated on exactly what autism is, and exactly just like anything else, all the details, the pros and cons of it, the struggles you go through, just like any typical person, and then of course the rewards of having it too, the the very 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 enhanced feelings of sensory, of being able to have very, very good hearing for music, very, very good visualization for thoughts, and having a photographic memory, right?
Yes.
Those are gifts. So, and then of course we have to talk about the challenges, which is in social settings. But a lot of the time, what I find is people on the autism spectrum, they're doing their job. They're they're learning about, you know, about social cues and what it means to read people's facial expressions and read the room, and what it means to actually be in a relationship, and what it means to enjoy the very gifts of this world of,
Mhm.
you know, you can call marriage, you can call having relationships with other people privileges, but I believe they are human rights. You have a right to experience that, Martin. You have a right to be in a relationship of your choice. You,
Yes.
you have a right. That is your right to have offspring, to have kids. Okay? You can choose to and choose not to, but the availability of it should be there for you. And like it is,
Thank you.
it's only fair. And I acknowledge that, Martin. I acknowledge that there's still an issue on that. And that's a big reason why acceptance is love. And I'm going to explain a little bit
Thank you.
about that later. But let's dive in a little, shall we?
Yes.
What is your special interest and how will you innovate it into making all of our lives more efficient?
Well, like I said, I was born May 11, 1986 in Bellflower Kaiser Hospital. Couple years here, I started acting around, doing some crazy stuff that no person wouldn't do. When I was diagnosed with autism, back then they called it intellectual disability, and after that, a couple months later, changed to autism. And my mom was worried that I couldn't talk, and originally they were gonna put me in the institution, but thank God my parents said no. And
That would have been a mistake.
yes, and my maternal grandmother, my late maternal grandmother, told my mom to make him talk, make him talk, make him talk. And a couple years later, I finally, talked it. You know, they did their best not to treat me any different, treat me no different at home. That they put me in school not just for autism regular kids, and actually back then, you know, some kids, made fun of me, and not all of them. And when I got to high school, I had the meanest teacher that she put me off the computers, just doing some stuff I shouldn't be doing, and then after that, when I went to my IEP, my parents took care of it. My parents took care of it. So, and when I got to driver's ed, a lot of people think that I couldn't drive, but I went, and a couple of years later, I went out there and proved them wrong. And after that, when I graduated from high school in 2004, I went to Cypress College, and I took continuing education for a couple of years. That congratulations, that I went to automotive class, and I had, back in 2007, which I have an automotive collision teacher, which I'm not going to mention his name, just basically just shut me out because he thought I couldn't move cars, could do all kind of stuff, how they treat me and stuff like that. So
Knowledge
I
right
have certain gifts, I have a knowledge of cars, I have good memory, and I also have a gift to play the keyboard, at church. That's the gifts I do have. Thank you.
Sounds like you have a lot of gifts.
Yeah,
Sounds like you're a very valuable human being in this world.
thank you.
Very welcome. Mr. Mark, I acknowledge it, okay?
Hmm.
And that's a whole reason, let me tell you why it's so important to have education on autism in schools. It's very important because we got to look at it this way. It was very wrong for that individual who was an instructor to treat you like that. Very wrong. Very, very wrong.
Yes.
That's textbook discrimination. But I like to take it one step further. Why? Got to look at it this way. There was no education system back then on teaching people about autism at all. Nowadays, you actually have podcasts. You have a new TV series, which I'm so glad that got aired last year on the Netflix, which is Love on the Spectrum. My ears perked up really, 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 really big when I saw that. That is a huge stride in the right direction.
Let me ask you a question. I would love to see that movie.
It,
I would love to see that documentary.
I can show it to you when we're done. It's beautiful, and I support it fully on Instagram. And the thing is, that's just the beginning. I'm going to do a lot more than that. I'm going to include classes on educating the general public on autism, integrated into K through 12, all across the United States in the public schools in their health classes. It's fair because then you won't have things like people misjudging you, people saying, "Oh, you can't drive. You look dangerous." It's like, "No, you're not. I'm talking to you right now, and you're not a dangerous person at all." You know? So just totally,
Well, they think I'm a threat, but I'm not.
you're nowhere near a threat. I've known you for 2 years, man. You're cool. Okay? And I mean that.
Thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
thank you.
But that said, with all this discrimination going on back in the day, I mean, there's still some now, right? And that's otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. But how did you deal with it? What were your coping skills that you had to develop to overcome this unfortunate adversity, Tell us about that, man. Well,
Well, like I said, I went out there and I proved them wrong, and I showed them when I could do it, and which is not easy. When I started working UPS as a driver, the job is not easy. A lot of things I couldn't do the job, which I proved them wrong. I won numerous recognitions, and I became a driver in 2016. A lot of things I couldn't drive, but I had one supervisor was tough that gave me a chance to be an air driver, UPS air driver, and I succeeded, with all the help I had.
of course you did.
And same thing at the undergrad. I actually, when I was an undergrad for driving training back in 2016, I had a job coach that helped me help with the reading portion, but they can't go with me doing the passion portion. So I definitely, I had Westview. You know, actually, I started UPS. I actually had a job coach, and since I was doing so well, I didn't need one anymore. I have the option to have a job coach. So through Westview through Regional Center. I also at Regional Center as well, which I got to meet tomorrow at 10:30. So
Yeah. Well, you got to do what you got to do, and don't be ashamed of having these services. These are there to create equity and inclusion and equality for you,
all right,
which,
thank you,
which I support. I mean,
thank you.
you're welcome. And you're the in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we were talking before, and you said that you're the first autistic person, first person on the autism spectrum to uh, have
One of them.
to be on the UPS team. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I don't doubt it at all. And you keep doing that. Do not let anything stop you, because you will become one of the best drivers of all time. I'll be pulling.
Thank you.
Okay, and that leads us to just talking about how people on the autism spectrum can do their dream jobs. For example, the main public, let's just say they're not ready to have a major celebrity TV star with autism. How is that TV star going to get ready to be able to go out and fulfill their dream job, which will be an actress or an actor, or depending on what pronoun they go by? Very important to acknowledge their inclusivity, and the education that I was talking about earlier ties into that too. We know, like I said in the clip earlier in the week, if we know things about it, we know it's not a threat, we accept it, and then that leads to growth in becoming one. Neurotypicality with neurodiversity, boom. That's how the seeds are grown, through education.
Mhm.
Because we put our guards up immediately once we're perceiving as if the other person or the other being is a threat. But if we know, hey, wait, that action right there, I wouldn't do that, but hey, that's the way he deals with life. That's he thinks differently. I know now. As an example, somebody will say once we get the education program rolling, I know now that's autism, and there's no reason for me to be afraid of that. Therefore, I'm going to see if I can try to get more engaged with being his friend or being her friend. So that is how it starts. And then that's when we can start to develop different types of hybrid relationships. And that's what we want, inclusivity. This is neurodiversity at its core. And we're going to be driving it home. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
Welcome. And then that leads to the dream job. How do you think that somebody on the autism spectrum can accomplish their dream job? especially when there's so much discrimination being stacked up against them.
Well, you know, I want my, working hard, be on time and just put a package per hour, they go by PPH, and I kept proving them wrong. And I actually got my first employee of the month back in 2008, and I got a second one in 2015, and I was employee of the year the same year in 2015, and 2017 I got my third employee of the year. So I keep proving them, proving. I also had another award for best package handler, in the building. So I just kept doing it, doing it, doing it. It was They had a competition, and I was better at package handler. So, and after that, back in 2020, I got a medal for doing something, initiative for the customer, especially during the pandemic. So yeah, I got a lot of recognitions. And at Teamsters, I was voted. Well, I'm gonna show you that, later on, that I had a picture of my general Teamster president. His name is Sean O'Brien, and I was recognized through the Teamsters. So I'm very proud of myself, all the recognitions I went through.
Can you pat yourself on the back for me?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're on the right track. You can always get better and better and better every step of the way. That's the way I looked
Mhm.
at it before I launched my music career. I was like, you know what? I realized something. If I don't give up and I keep going and being inspired and not getting jealous of our allies, but appreciating the work that they do and learn from them, guess what? I'm gonna be the best. That's
Mhm.
regardless. Never give up. I think one of our presidents said that. Okay. Um, so
Which president to say that?
I don't remember. I think it was Barack Obama,
Mm.
but he also believed in change as being a good thing, right? He advocated for autism. You know, it's very very important that we really look at all the facts before we make a judgment. And I believe we should judge people on the autism spectrum on their accomplishments and their willingness to always get things right. Because from what you're telling me, you're doing a great job. And
Thank you so much.
welcome, just keep doing it. And I'll be here for your support. Our channel's here to support you.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. And that leaves us with a song. I have this song that I wrote for you, Martin.
Hope, it, hope it's catchy.
Dear America, you've been divided by illusion. To stay away from what feels like a burden. You got lost in the shadows of endorsing exclusion. But do you know you're in the midst of desolation? The one left in the dark knows the crimes you keep on doing. Unquenchable fire sitting well underneath. I was lost in the shadows of unintended defeat. We can't be cast down, but our name is to be set apart. So light up the darkness to unseal love deep down in our heart. We keep on killing for pointless reasons. I reach out to let you know time is running out. We don't know what we're doing, drowning in our treasons. Oh, it's sorrow the world feels. hate is the reason. Boy, it's never good enough to just tolerate what we have found in the dark. Unquenchable fire, sitting well underneath, always lost in the shadows of unintended defeat. We can't be cast down by our neighbors to be set apart. So light up the darkness to unseal love deep down in our heart. We'll light up the darkness to unseal love deep down in our heart.
Lovely, beautiful, lovely,
Thank you.
very strong, catchy.
Just about acceptance is love, man. It really is. Once we get past the final hurdles of discrimination, we look at our neighbors when they do interesting actions. Notice my choice of words, right? I said interesting.
Yes.
We can understand, well, he's probably having a bad day or he's thinking about something right now, but I'm sure that he's a great person. And I believe that we can get to that spot. And just remember, one step at a time, us sharing our stories, being open, and really learning about what the autism spectrum really is. Again, there are a lot of great individuals who have done great things for our society, such as Elon Musk, who I still feel deserve even more recognition. And we got to look at that in a positive light. And the same with it can be applied to anything, like somebody cutting you off on the freeway. You can easily curse them out, right? Give them the
Yes, that's called road rage.
Or you could say, wait a minute, they got a phone call, and that husband is with his wife, and she's giving birth, and they're in a hurry because the baby's already overdue. And I put myself in their shoes, and I say, wait a minute. If I were in his shoes, I'd probably want to do the same thing, because darn it, I have to get to that hospital. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. Reframing how we think. I'll be patient. I mean, we've thought one way so long, and we take little strides and little steps to get to the other side. And that is how the seeds of acceptance and love will be sown. It's great having you on our show today, Martin. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and we look forward to talking to you and seeing you soon. Take care.
I think so. You too.